Good morning, welcome to my channel. My name is David Okun, and thank you very much those who have been helping me and supporting this channel. Those who have been subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel. We are talking about the cost of living, and share with family, friends, and click notification bell and leave a comment below and click like. That's the best way to help this channel. We have been linking the cost of living crisis to countries. At the moment, I'm talking about a country are considered to be a model country, the United Kingdom. And like I said in the other videos in this series, under this topic, under this sub theme, United Kingdom. United Kingdom is a leading nation at the moment, and is a leading player in the global economic system, economic and political system. And it is necessary to look at the United Kingdom as a model country. And like I've always said, the cost of living crisis is a function of income malfunctioning. It relates to people who are on low income in the vast majority of the population of the world, and that is what I've been saying. So let us look at the United Kingdom to see how it contributed to the global segments of progress, and especially the developmental economic progress, as we saw in the other videos. And we have done, as a human species, we have done very well. And so I'm going to look at the United Kingdom, and in the 21st century, as in the contemporary. And we're going to look at the political history of the United Kingdom. Watch this video in conjunction with the other videos on the subtopic of the United Kingdom in relation to the cost of living crisis. We're looking at the times since the 1979. This was a period of time when Margaret Thatcher became the Prime Minister, the very first female Prime Minister of the country. And until looking from 1979 to the present, and the social history of the United Kingdom, from 1979 to the present, we have 2 billion doses of Oxford University, 2 billion doses of Oxford University AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine was sent to more than 170 countries by November 2021. We are just looking at some of the, what I would say, the cool headlines in relation to the recent crisis of the COVID-19. And I have reasoned, or actually proposed elsewhere, that the COVID-19 has been a major factor which should not be ignored. We already talked about COVID-19 in relation to the cost of living crisis. And we're talking, giving an overview. These are factors which shaped what Britain has become since history, and going forward, we are looking at this material to try and illustrate the point set out in the previous videos. And the UK, broadly supported by the United States approach to the war on terror in the early years of the 21st century. So we had events involving terrorism in the 21st century at that time, when the United Kingdom actually was on the side of the United States following September the 11th, when America was actually attacked by terrorists, and this led to the war in the Middle East, where the coalition leading the battles, which actually created also an additional crisis, which in my proposition from the beginning, the war on terror, alongside factors like the cost of living and COVID-19 and also Brexit and all these others, the war in Ukraine. These, I said, were crises which happened to accompany change and progress in the capitalistic economy. Since history to the present, crisis has been part and parcel of our modern living, and I've said that it is the role of the government to intervene in favor of those who need help, the vulnerable 95 or more percent of the global population, especially in the developed world, so that they don't experience the cost of living crisis. If you like this, leave a comment below. Let me know what you're talking. If you don't like it, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. We need to continue with this discussion. It's quite interesting, quite exciting. The controversy surrounding some of Britain's overseas military deployments, particularly in Afghanistan and Iraq. Just mentioned Afghanistan and Iraq. The 2008 global financial crisis severely affected the UK economy. Like I said previously, these were the crises underlying what now created the cost of living crisis. And every time there is one crisis, it creates another crisis. But the melting pot of this crisis appears when people actually begin to be in lack of food, energy, transportation, housing, and healthcare, education, employment, low pay and all that thing. The decline of the public sector, as I said before, actually affected things to do with welfare system, including welfare benefit, including employment. These are actually factors of income. Income is fundamental for those who are actually on low income, and in the modern economy, people being on low income is nothing new. And this is actually something to be remembered going forward. And let's continue with this discourse and look at what really happened. And the Cameron-Clegg coalition government of 2010 introduced austerity measures intended to tackle the substantial public deficit which resulted. So Cameron-Clegg in the UK, when the Conservative Party did not win an overall majority in Parliament after a general election, the Prime Minister of Britain, David Cameron, came into a coalition with the leader of the Liberal Democrat, which is actually the third largest political party in the UK. They came into a coalition in 2010, and doing this, the crafted policies to deal with the impact of the financial crisis. They introduced something into the economy known by, in terms of policy, known as austerity measure, intended to tackle the substantial public deficit which resulted. This austerity measure was a contradiction in terms, in my opinion, because what austerity measure did, it actually destroyed the public sector even further. Because austerity, in effect, meant that the government was not going to support the public sector financially. They introduced a concept within the public sector known as efficiency saving, which is a total nonsense, because efficiency saving is a commercial concept relating to the private sector of the economy of business. So the Cameron-Clegg coalition was actually, in 2010, was actually a poison which actually intoxicated the public sector. And people should remember that this was when the public sector was inflicted with an extremely damaging economic approach. They did the opposite of what they should have done. They should have actually not operated austerity at all. in terms of the public sector, austerity should have actually related to restricting the excesses, the wastages found within the big corporation, the things relating to wealth owned by the super rich, who actually, they drink money, they waste wealth like there is no tomorrow. And this is my criticism of the super rich, who are actually culturally bankrupt. We, like I said, in pursuing the interest of peace in favor of global stability, economic, social, political stability. We need to learn a lot about our culture. Our culture is about respect for human life, human under every circumstance. Human life comes first. And this may sound simplistic, but it is not. But it is a simple proposition which has an immense impact on how we live in terms of peace, because our life consists and our prospects also consists in when we aspire to achieve peace as a society. So the Scottish government and UK government agreed for a referendum to be held on Scottish independence in 2014. So these were actually segment of events which actually accompany crisis, because it brings change. Although the referendum, the involved Scottish government and the UK government agreed for a referendum to be held on Scottish independence in 2014. The referendum actually was in favor of the outcome of this referendum was in favor of the UK remaining in union. So it was actually a waste of public money. At a time when the government should have focused on rebuilding the public sector, it was actually a big mistake. It was costly. It was a waste of public money in an exercise which actually is futile. There is no need to consider even doing that. This referendum resulted in the electorate in Scotland voting by 55.3% to 44.7% for Scotland to remain part of the United Kingdom. In 2016, 51.9% of voters in the United Kingdom voted to leave the European Union as a member state. This is another crisis which was worthless. It was actually catastrophic, nonsensical exercise created by the extreme wing of the Conservative Party. It was actually a fatal error which actually cost the country lots of money and creating a lot of problems in the economy and creating a lot of problems. Actually, all these events are responsible for the current cost of living. It has always been like that, and the role of the government should have been focusing, instead of creating a problem. The Conservative Party created a problem to do with Brexit, Britain giving a referendum to the British people, which was not necessary. It was a nonsense of an exercise by reckless and careless, irresponsible, right-wing, extremist, conservative party members. And I believe this kind of behavior is actually chronic, and it's just the beginning. It's going to go on, and the Conservative Party and people like them within the political economy are going to be creating a lot of problems, wrecking the country's economy, actually destroying the life of the majority of the population, like we now see in the incident of the cost of living. And like, if you watch the rest of my video, I've been talking about this, and now I'm actually trying to illustrate these information. The UK left EU on the 31st January 2020 and completed its withdrawal in full at the end of that year. We've seen this before. We look at Brexit as a program, and on the 1st of May 2021, the Trade and Cooperation Agreement came into force, which was a free trade agreement between the United Kingdom and the European Union. These are actually now, they're trying to patch up, and all these events cost public money, and the public sector continue to suffer, notwithstanding that the government's attitude to public sector has been to close it down. These actually are events which justified closure because it impoverished the public sector as an economy, and all these events are responsible for the current cost of living. And then you came to see the COVID-19 pandemic, which had a severe impact on the UK's economy, causing major disruption to education and having a far-reaching impact on society, and including politics in 2020 and 2021. This is actually COVID-19. We don't know where it came from. We are told it came from China, somewhere called the Yuan, but these are actually incidents of crisis and underpinning modern society. It comes from one way or the other. But what we are saying here, whatever crisis occurs, it is the function, the role of the government to make sure that such a crisis is actually ameliorated by the public sector. And the closure of the public sector is the key cause of the cost of living crisis. And the way to actually address the cost of living crisis is the government to start investing in the public sector economy again, start reopening the parts of the public sector closed for education, healthcare, employment, and gas, electricity, energy in general, water, food. All these are actually the function of the public sector, and once the public sector is closed, the health service, housing, all these actually becomes problematic. Employment actually is destroyed. I said before that we are working on technology and society at the developmental front, and that is a good thing, because when the technology comes in, we will be in a position to support people who cannot support themselves now, to get them out of poverty. Technology can do that as long as we learn our cultural economic prudence. And if we fail to learn our culture, failing to respect people, abusing people, treating them like slaves, and killing people indirectly or directly, through wars, through conflict, through neglect of all sorts, including the cost of living crisis. People do not need to experience the cost of living crisis at all at our time, and a cacophony of negligence or mistakes and actually insanity in many cases, because some of these things shouldn't have occurred at all. And I think we need to really have a think, and a lot of chaos is now being manufactured in this, at state level, at country, at international level, and we can no longer go on like this, destroying the country, destroying life by being negligent or being ignorant. Culturally, we need to start valuing human life over and above money. Yes, money is important, but human life comes first. We cannot treat the public sector as a commercial enterprise, period. Because the public sector is supposed to look at people who are poor, who are the 95% of the population. People who work for a living is a necessity. I keep saying this over and over, and I hope some sensible people will begin to realize what the problem is and start coming together to speak out. Telling the government, what they are thinking, speaking truth to power, as it were. So we'll look at the United Kingdom was the first country in the world to use an approved COVID-19 vaccine. They also developed their own vaccine between Oxford University and AstraZeneca, which allowed them to roll out the vaccine nationwide quickly. So these are actually now the cleaning up of the country, but it could have been done better under the auspices of the private sector. It would have saved more money. It would have been more effective than when than using private companies to try and deliver public sector. And this is a consistent our viewpoint I'm putting forward. How people who are really watching this will understand and begin to see clearly where the problem is. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Leave a comment below, click notification bell, and support this channel. Share with family and friends. On the 8th of September 2022, Elizabeth II, the longest living and longest remaining British monarch, died at the age of 96. This is another crisis which created a lot of havoc in the country. It cost the country money. It caused the government a lot of grief and a lot of turmoil, and it is left to the government, the public sector, to intervene and deal with crises, including the death of our late Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II. And as a country, as members of the global community, we really miss the Queen, the former, then Queen of England. And upon the Queen's death, our eldest child, Charles, Prince of Wales, accepted the British throne as King Charles III. King Charles III also created an event. Every event is actually a responsibility on the shoulder of the government, and that is why we need a stronger public sector to deal with all these incidences, because even the enthronement of King Charles III was a form of crisis, because it happened because his mom, the Queen, died. So it's part of the crisis. And like I said, by way of illustration, that life is full of crisis. Capitalism is a corporate estate. I've seen more than enough of more than its fair share of crisis, and the government or the people of the world need to understand that every time there's a crisis, the state should intervene using the public sector to provide public service. That is a consistent proposition. Let's look at the geography. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed, and to support the channel. And the subscription is free. You don't have to pay anything. You don't need to. It takes seconds. You just click and subscribe. You don't need to put your personal information in there. It's so easy. It's the best way to support this. If you like the video, then subscribe to this channel. Let us look at the UK. Let's look at its geography and the geography of the United Kingdom. And we can look at the total area of the United Kingdom, which is approximately 244,820 square kilometers, and an equivalent of 94,530 square miles. These are the measurements of the area. The country occupies the major part of the British Isles, archipelago, I really have failed to pronounce this. Archipelago, and includes the island of Great Britain, the northeastern one-sixth of the island of Ireland, and some smaller surrounding islands. I have no idea. Are failing to produce, archipelago. I want to pronounce it different, but I keep pronouncing it like for some reason. It lies between the North Atlantic Ocean and the North Sea, with the southeast coast coming within 22 miles, 32 kilometers of the coast of North France, from which it is separated by the English Channel. This is how Britain looked like in terms of geographical dimensions, our the size and all the rest of it. In 1992, 10% of the United Kingdom was forested, 47% used for pastures, and 25% for cultivation, cultivated for agriculture. And so we have a lot of forest. 10% is a lot of forest, and 46% is for pasture. That is for rearing animals, and rest actually for cultivation. In other words, we have enough trees and wildlands. We have enough, more than enough, to produce meat and other animals for other purposes. We shouldn't. Food in the UK shouldn't be a problem with so much wealth. And like I said before, food should be produced by the public sector, by the public businesses, and it should be fully funded by the government. Nobody should lack food. Actually, in any developed country, food should not be sold. It should be distributed freely. People should go to the supermarket and just get food as much as they like. And nobody should sell food. And there's nothing like wasting food. If they want to eat food, they should eat food. If there is a way of controlling waste, then it has to be done, because we have the money. We just have to get our people out of poverty. We have to get our people out of food poverty, energy poverty, and all the natural resources. But it has to be done by the public sector. That's what I'm trying to suggest. Public sector should not be closed down. It should be all closed. The closure should be reversed, and that's how to solve the cost of living crisis. If we don't do that, the cost of living is just the beginning. The Royal Greenwich Observatory in London was chosen as the defining point of the prime meridian in Washington, D.C. in 1884, although due to more accurate modern measurement, the meridian actually lies 100 meters to the east of the observatory. The United Kingdom lies between latitude 49 degrees and 61 degrees north, longitude 9 degrees west, and 2 degrees east. This is the global positioning of Britain. Northern Ireland shares a 224 miles, 360 kilometer land boundaries with the Republic of Ireland. Northern Ireland is actually technically I don't know, it's part of the United Kingdom. It is actually because of Northern Ireland that we have the United Kingdom. Otherwise, we love Great Britain, which is England, Wales, and Scotland. It's correct to say Northern Ireland was actually taken from Ireland because it is part of Ireland. But because of the history of, I say, colonialism really, and imperialism, which Britain exercised across the globe, Ireland, Falklands, all these nations are actually not British territory. But because of violence and cultural failure, that happened. The coastline of Great Britain is 11,073 miles and 17,820 kilometers long. It is connected to the continental Europe by the Channel Tunnel, which at 31 miles, 50 kilometers, 24 miles, 84 kilometers underwater, is the longest underwater tunnel in the world. That is impressive. Underwater tunnel, because the Eurostar actually travels carry customers and also goods. I would say if you can carry services, then you may be good on services, very important. The UK contains 4 terrestrial ecoregions: the Celtic broadleaf forest, English lowlands beech forest, North Atlantic moist mixed forest, and the Golden conifer forest. So the word terrestrial means the earth. On earth, that's what its territory look like. The country had a 2019 forest landscape integrity index mean score of 1.65 stroke 10, ranking it 116, 161, 161st globally out of 172 countries. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe to this channel to support it. Subscribing is free, and click like, share with family and friends so that this channel can grow. And let's look at the climate of the United Kingdom. Let us look at the solar energy available for power generation in the UK. We can actually produce the solar energy in the UK, and the UK should not be energy poor at all. Most of the United Kingdom has a temperate climate with generally cool temperatures and plentiful rainfall all over all year round. The temperature varies, with the season seldom dropping below 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, or rising above 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the temperature. How warm, cold, mild, medium, some parts away from the coast of upland England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and most of Scotland experience a subpolar oceanic climate, SFC. This information is important for planners and for researchers and for scholars, environmentalists, travelers, people who like having holidays, actually also for farmers, so that farmers can actually plan agriculture, and those who want to do different things with nature. So to know this information is relevant, and to not know it is not good enough, because Britain as a country needs to be on the top of its natural resources, and natural resources is more than enough, and money is more than enough. So the cost of living should not, as a crisis, should not occur. The prevailing wind is from the southwest and bears frequent spells of mild and wet weather from the Atlantic Ocean, although the eastern parts are mostly sheltered from this wind. Since the majority of the rain falls over the western regions, the eastern parts are therefore driest. Atlantic currents warmed by the Gulf Stream bring wild waters, especially in the west, where winters are wet and even more so over high ground. Summers are warmest in the southeast of England and coolest in the north. Heavy snowfall can occur in winter and early spring on high ground, and occasionally settles to great depth away from the hills. The average total annual sunshine in the United Kingdom is 1,339.7 hours, which is just under 30% of the maximum possible. The hours of sunshine vary from 1,200 to about 1,580 hours per year, and since 1996 the UK has been and still is receiving about the 1981 to 2010 average hours of sunshine. And the United Kingdom is ranked second out of 180 countries in the Environmental Performance Index. So that is really excellent. Record for Britain. A law has been passed in that the UK greenhouse gas emissions will be net zero by 2050. So look at the topography. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel and share with family and friends so that as many people as possible can access and view the channel, view the videos, and actually help the channel to be growing. England account for just over half, 53% of the total area of UK, covering 130,395 square kilometers, or 50,350 square miles. So England is actually extremely big. Most of the country consists of lowland terrain with more upland and some mountainous terrain. Northwest of the Tees X-line, including the Lake District of Independence, Exmoor and Dartmoor. The main rivers and estuaries are the Thames, Severn and the Amber. These are the main rivers. England's highest mountain is Scafell Pike in measuring 978 meters, 3,209 feet in the Lake District. The Skiddaw Massif, Keswick and Derwent waters in the Lake District. These are examples of some of the key features, physical features. Skye is one of the major islands in the Inner Hebrides and part of the Scottish Island. Scotland accounts for just under 1/3, 32% of the total area of the United Kingdom, covering 78%, 78,772 square kilometers, 30,410 square miles. These include nearly 800 islands, predominantly west and north of the mainland, notably the Hebrides, Auckland Island and Shetland Island. Scotland is said to be extremely beautiful for those who would want to visit. I haven't been there myself. Scotland is the most mountainous country in the UK, and its topography is distinguished by the Highland Boundary Fault, a geographical rock fracture which traverses Scotland from Highland in the west to Donovan in the east. It's not really gorgeous. If you go to Scotland and see how it looks like, the fault separates two distinctively different regions, namely the islands to the north and the west, and the lowlands to the south and east. That is Scotland. The more rugged island region contains the majority of Scotland's mountainous land, including Ben Nevis, which at 1,345 meters, 4,413 feet, is the highest point in the British Isles. If you watch this video, watch it in conjunction with what we have already recorded introducing this topic, and Great Britain being England, Scotland and Wales, in addition to Northern Ireland forming what is now the United Kingdom. Lowlands areas, especially the narrow waste of land between the Firth of Clyde and the Firth of Forth, known as the Central Belt, are flatter and home to most of the population, including Glasgow, Scotland's largest city, and Edinburgh, its capital and the political centre, although upland and mountainous terrain lies within the southern upland. Come to Wales accounts for less than 1/10, 9% of the total area of the UK, covering 20%, 20,779 square kilometers, 8,000 420 square miles. This is Wales. Wales is extremely small, comparable to North Scotland in England. Wales mostly mountainous, though South Wales is less mountainous than North and Mid Wales. The main population and industrial areas are in South Wales, consisting of the coastal cities of Cardiff, Swansea, and Newport, and the South Wales valleys to their north. The highest mountain in Wales are the Snowdonia, and includes Snowdon, Welsh, Watford, which at 1,085 meters, 3,560 feet, is the highest peak in Wales. Wales has over 2,704 kilometers, 1,680 miles of coastline. Several islands lie off the Welsh mainland, the largest of which is Anglesey in the northwest. The Northern Ireland, separated from Great Britain by the Irish Sea and North Channel, has an area of 14,160 square kilometers, 5,470 square miles, and is mostly hilly. This is Northern Ireland. It includes Lough Neagh, which at 388 square kilometers, 150 square miles, is the largest lake in the British Isles by area. The highest peak in Northern Ireland is Slieve Donard in the Mourne Mountains at 852 meters, 2,795 feet. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed. Subscribing takes seconds and it's free. You don't need to do anything. You just click and click like, share with family and friends. If you enjoy the movie, the video, enjoy it with family and friends. Leave a comment below if you like it. If you don't like it, let me know what you think, how you feel about the program and the information. Let's look at government and politics in detail in the United Kingdom. King Charles III is the monarch since 2022, and Rishi Sunak is the Prime Minister since 2022. The United Kingdom is a unitary state under the constitutional monarchy. We have discussed this in the previous video in fair details. The King Charles III is the monarch and head of state of the United Kingdom, as well as 14 other independent countries, including, for example, Australia, maybe I think New Zealand also, and Canada, and all these other countries. There are 15 countries. These 15 countries are sometimes referred to as Commonwealth realms. The monarch is formally vested with all executive authority as the personal embodiment of the crown. The disposition of such powers, however, include those belonging to the royal prerogative. Is generally exercised only on the advice of ministers of the crown responsible for parliament and thence to the electorate. In other words, the power of the monarchy has been reduced by its civil equivalence within the UK government, which is actually headed by the Prime Minister. Nevertheless, in the performance of executive duties, the monarch has the right to be consulted, the right to encourage, and the right to warn. These are some of the powers possessed by King Charles III. In addition, the monarch has a number of reserved powers at his disposal in order to uphold responsible government and prevent constitutional crisis. So it is to provide calm over turmoil, such as now with the crisis of the cost of living. I don't really personally know what the monarch's view about the cost of living crisis, and it's most likely it's not going to say very much, because the royal family generally are actually excluded from political controversy. But this political controversy is also unnecessary. It's a poor, it's a poor administration of the state, that the fundamental issue like the cost of living crisis is seen as part of the political controversy. Real lives are being destroyed. People are really suffering. Unemployment, poor condition of work, and low pay, and jobs insecurity, the demise of the welfare system generally, including employment, benefit system, education, healthcare, housing, and public transport, food, energy. And these are actually things causing now the crisis of the cost of living. And I think the royal family should be taking some responsibility, because the royal family is actually, I would dare to say, is the richest family, not just in the UK, but one of the richest in the world. And if I was King Charles, I was going to talk to the royal family, and I want to talk to His Majesty's government to strengthen the public sector and take some of their wealth. They can take half of their wealth to finance the public sector, so to eradicate poverty in Britain, at least in Britain, and also talk to his counterparts across the globe in America and across the globe to change the way they run countries and the economies, and produce more, or to provide more public sector, public service, to get the global citizen, especially in Africa, out of poverty. And this is not rocket science, it is doable. We just have to change the way we think. We have to start the process of cultural regeneration as an economy, as part of modern day progress. In addition, these reserve powers are particularly relevant to the appointment of a prime minister, preventing unconstitutional use of the British armed forces, and the prorogation and dissolution of parliament, and the enactment of legislation and conferring state orders. The UK government called the monarchy a unique soft power and diplomatic asset, which is good on paper, but it's not very good in practice, because right now the royal family should now begin to show a bit of its mantle in practice, a bit of teeth, to push the government to get the British people out of poverty. That will solve tendencies involving the crisis, such as the cost of living, not just in the UK but across the globe. The project should start in Britain. The UK monarchy has promoted British interests and values, increased tourism, and promoted charities. British value of essence should be the evidence of valuing human life over political power, military power, over wealth, which is actually concentrated in the hands of the few, including in the hands of the royal family, other than in the hands of the people of Britain. There is no pretending to be caring for people when you keep them in poverty in a country which no one should be poor at all, and it shouldn't be rocket science in the modern world with knowledge, technology, and a lot of experience. So this is actually a cultural failure in the part of the royal family, in the part of the government, British government, and also the global governments. The Prime Minister is the head of government of the United Kingdom, and so he is. And he should stop privatizing the UK economy. He can privatize the UK economy as much as he wants, But it should definitely start nationalizing the public sector in order to provide the public service, in order to eradicate poverty, in order to prevent another cost of living crisis happening or similar crisis happening, which affect people in ways which are unnecessary. And the lesson to learn cultural economy, cultural practices should begin at number 10 with the Prime Minister and number 9 with the Chancellor of the Exchequer of the UK. Nearly all Prime Ministers have served concurrently as First Lord of the Treasury, and all Prime Ministers have continuously served as First Lord of the Treasury since 1905, Minister of the Civil Service since 1968, and Minister of the Union since 2019. The United Kingdom, I would argue, is a leader of sculpturing social and political systems, and is a model for the world, and is so efficient that it has led the globe for decades and decades, producing excellent results on the development economic aesthetics, and this is to be complimentable. And I would say to Britain, therefore, to use the same the same expertise, the same resourcing to create a plan on the cultural economic front. That is actually the roadmap, the fundamental roadmap to peace, rebuilding our culture, providing respect as a priority, valuing humanity as a priority in our countries, in this country, and across the globe. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed. Share with family and friends so that as many people as possible can watch the video. Leave a comment below and continue to support this program, this channel in modern times. The Prime Minister is by constitutional convention and MP. The Prime Minister, which means the Prime Minister has to be elected like everyone, and we need to have a consistency, and is consistent should vote for him. And in practice, most Prime Ministers are actually in safe seats, which means they are set in stable seats so that so as to avoid surprises of a party leader being deselected or whoever, unelected during the general election. The Prime Minister is appointed by the monarch, and their appointment is governed by constitutional conventions. However, they are normally the leader of the political party with the most seats in the House of Commons, and holds office by virtue of their ability to command the confidence of the House of Commons. If the House of Commons has no confidence in the Prime Minister, there is something called a vote of no confidence given to bring the changes. The Prime Minister not only as a statutory function alongside other ministers, but is the monarch's principal advisor, and it is to them to advise the monarch on the exercise of the royal prerogative in relation to government. In particular, the Prime Minister recommends the appointment of ministers and chairs the cabinet. It's a lot of power. Thank you for watching this video. I'm going to stop this video here. Subscribe to this channel, share with family and friends, click notification bell, and leave a comment below, click like, and continue supporting the channel. Thank you. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.